So thank you all for joining us from around South Australia and Australia today. I'm Debbie Pryor, the Artistic Program Manager at Guildhouse, and I am very excited to welcome you all to the inaugural session of the Revision Speaker Series. This series of conversations is aimed at increasing connectivity. Oops. I think the screen share has just kicked me out of my notes. I'm back in, sorry about that. I think we'll do a little blooper reel at the end, no doubt. This series of conversations is aimed at increasing connectivity within the arts during this time of disconnect, to offer an opportunity to artists to increase their wellbeing and to find new models of sustainability within their practice. Community is at the heart of the September sessions. Speakers and participants will unpack the ways in which they create, engage and serve communities, especially in times of crisis. Complementing the speaker series is a tech mentor program enabling artists to grow skills where they're needed most. We have more info on our website, with the first round of interest for the mentorships closing on September 30. Guildhouse has received support from the Australia Council Adapt Fund for the revision program, in addition to support from the Day Family Foundation and Creative Partnerships Australia, for which we are very grateful. I'm speaking with you from Kaurna land in South Australia, and I pay my respects to the traditional elders of this land, past, present and emerging, and I acknowledge the rich and ongoing creative culture of the Aboriginal people. Today I'll be talking with Vipoo Srivilasa, and before we begin, I'll quickly go through some housekeeping. In this session, Vipoo and I will discuss his arts practice and the activism and collaboration within that practice. You can ask questions at any time in the chat box. You could also type, "I'd like to ask a question," and we'll turn on your mic at the appropriate time. Aside from this, please make sure your mic is off, as accidental noise can be easily picked up, but it looks like most of you are doing that, so thank you. After questions, we'll host a workshop with breakout sessions. This is a great opportunity for you to talk to other participants and audience members and talk through what activism looks like to you and what you would like to achieve and contribute within your community. If the workshop is not for you, then that's totally fine. We'll give you the opportunity to leave the session before we break out. I'm really excited to introduce Vipoo Srivilasa, who not only has an incredibly refined and vibrant ceramic practice, but also a generous and global activism and fundraising arm to that practice. I'll ask Victoria, our session moderator, to share her screen, and we can show a few more images of Vipoo's work while I give a little bit of an intro. Thank you, Victoria. Vipoo Srivilasa is a Thai-born, Melbourne-based artist, curator and arts activist. Vipoo works predominantly in porcelain, but is also in an interdisciplinary manner, creating works on paper, mixed media and bronze sculpture, as well as public art. Vipoo's playful blend of European historical figures and Asian decorative arts practices often explores contemporary cross-cultural and migration experiences. Collaboration is an important aspect of Vipoo's practice. In addition to exhibiting, he regularly organises projects of cultural exchange between artists and audiences within Australia and internationally, and uses ceramics as a way to invite diverse communities into his creative processes. Most recently, Vipoo has worked with the Australian and international clay communities to raise funds for Australian bushfire relief and Black Lives Matter, and is also a co-founder of the international not-for-profit Ceramics for Charity. Welcome, Vipoo.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. I will talk a lot less now and we can hear from you. And I'll start with, I would love to hear you talk about your practice in your own words, but I'm particularly interested to know what attracted you to become an artist and initially how ceramics became your primary medium.
That's a lot of questions. Which one should I ask first?
Well, you can describe your own practice in your own words, if that helps.
I basically making things I like to make and things that make me happy, whether it's art or it's craft or whatever it defined by other people. But for me, it's just the thing that I like to make. And my dream is to make a living out of my creativity. And I have been doing it for almost 20 years now. So I'm living my dream right now. What is the second question?
Really how you became an artist. What was it that drove you to know that that's what you wanted to do for your life?
Yes, Yes, I remember now you asked me why I do ceramics. It's because it's sexy. You know, sometimes like I was single before, so I get in touch with ceramics, and the way I touch it, the way I feel it, it kind of like, you know, satisfying.
Mm.
Now, because ceramic is more like, it's the idea of making some like a lump of clay to something really fantastic, I guess. It changed from something that you can find anywhere in the world, but turn into something that you put in a gallery. It's kind of fascinating me. It's also the excitement of opening the kiln. I have been doing ceramic for 20 years, and every time I open the kiln, it still excited me. It's just like gambling, but instead of money, I spend my time and energy as the exchanging. Sometimes I lost, sometimes I win. Sometimes you open the kiln and it's all exploded, and you just like, oh yeah, it bring you back to earth. Like you're not that great, really. And
Very
and
humbling
ceramic
medium.
also and ceramic had something that different from other materials. Like if you do painting or other thing, it just, you can see the finish whenever it finished. But for ceramics, you have to let it go because you have to put it in the kiln, and you just don't really know what would happen. And you know, it's kind of like a little magic at the end of the process. I think that's what I like about ceramics.
Mm. Had you seen other ceramicists that really inspired you to make, or did you really you had to go with the material and you just clicked with it? You knew that that's what you wanted to do.
Oh, when I was starting,
Mm.
I think when I started, I was at a high school when I make a fashion accessory for sale. And back then I used air dry clay. But in Thailand, we don't have air dry clay. So we make it ourselves using bread mixed with glue and turn it into kind of like paste and turn it into like air dry clay. But what happened is it's very popular with cockroach. So my clients bought my jewelries and earrings and necklace, but then like 3 months later, they half of it gone because the cockroach ate them.
Oh wow.
So that that's led me to find some other material that lasts longer. And I found ceramic is kind of similar to air dry clay. So I just choose ceramics. Not very inspiring answer, isn't it? But it is true.
And then you entered a new world of discovery, I guess, once you knew that you weren't just sculpting the clay, but you were glazing it and you were firing it, and who knew what would happen from there.
Yes.
I think I think it was about 2008, I saw you hosted dinner at 4A Gallery in Sydney. I think it was Taste, Touch, Tell was the exhibition. And I'd never seen you do performative aspects or introduce that into your practice before. And I'd love to know what drove you to, I mean, that might not have been the first time, but it was the first time I saw it. And I wonder what drove you to introduce that aspect into your practice.
Well, back then, Aaron Sito was the director, and he offered at the A4, and he offered me an exhibition, a solo show at A4 Gallery. And on one condition, that my work, I have to come up with the idea that my work is not being shown in the gallery and on the plinth. It's basically like, yeah, you can have a show at 4A Gallery, but not in the gallery.
Oh.
So I took it as a challenge, and I come up with the idea of like making, because go back to ceramics, because ceramic is like functionality of it. And so I thought like it could transfer the idea of senses. So it's a new way for people to experience my work. Normally people just come and look at my work, but through this dinner, they can actually touch, they can taste it when they put food in their mouth, they can hear it when the cutlery kind of like hit the porcelain, and they can smell the food. So that's the idea of doing dinner projects coming. And to do the dinner project, you also have to perform as well. You can't just have dinner and then just put food on the table. People just not entertained enough, I think. So you have to not like dancing or doing things like that, but they kind of like tell story and talk to them and be a bit animated. So they're kind of happy and enjoy the dinner, which I already cook, which I cook as well. So at least, you know, if the food's not good, say they enjoy my entertainment.
And in sharing your own food, you're sharing your culture with the audience as well.
Yeah, it's funny thing. Food is the first thing that people who taste or try or learn of different culture. You know, like to learn some new things. I think food is the easiest thing for people to experience different culture or experience the new culture. So that's why I think using food is such a good idea and metaphor. And also, if the food is really good, everything else could fail. People still remember it's a good show.
Yeah. And how did it feel from your point of view as the artist, not just putting artwork on a plinth in a gallery, but performing and interacting and talking and seeing immediate responses from your audience?
Well, first, it was really challenging. You know, it's just like, I just don't get the idea, because when I enter for a contemporary gallery, it's kind of changing aspect of my work and changing the context of my work. But because of Aaron, I own him a lot, because the way he puts it, the way he kind of like guiding me through the process, it actually changed the way I work and changed the way I approach my work since then. And I can see, before I see ceramic as like the only thing, like, you know, things that I respect. I can't do anything with ceramic. It has to be like a particular way of working ceramics. But now I see ceramic or clay as a material. It's not just to make sculpture, but I can use this material in different ways. I can use it to connect people together. I can use it to kind of like provide a platform for cultural exchange. So I feel like clay is much bigger for me now than before.
And now that's become...
Hi, Tom.
That's become quite an important part of your practice, hasn't it? I know you've done some performances and collaborations recently with, even at Craft Victoria with Love Lab, you performed that. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that project, which I think was part of the Garland magazine?
Yeah, it's part of my exhibition called The Marriage of Sang Thong, talking about the equality married or equality love. I just used Thai story, Thai folktale story to tell story of the same-sex marriage that I experienced in Australia. And one of the aspect of the story is a big feast after the main character get married. And I just thought, oh, that would be good to involve some food. So I bring the idea of people come to me and I'm like a food doctor or a love doctor. And then people could fill in the questionnaire. What is their ideal lover? So like sexy, handsome, rich, or kind, or things like all these aspects of the lover they want. And each aspect tend to translate into different ingredients. At the end, so the more they choose the aspect, the more ingredient will come together. And I turn this ingredient into finger food. So they actually could taste how their ideal love tastes like.
Wow. And that must have been pre-COVID?
Yes, the last one we did is just like a week before the lockdown.
Yeah. And how was the response from the audiences?
They love it. They think it's really fun, and actually it's really engaging in a way that if I make it serious, people don't get it. People just don't involve with the issue. For example, one of the question is, what kind of energy do you have? So I have like, 5 different, like, one female, 4 male, or like 2 female energy and three males energy in you. So even though you're female, but when you come in, you're like, oh, hang on, but I'm female, but I feel like I have more masculine energy in me, more than, feminine energy. So this way, kind of talking about sexuality without putting like, at the front of you, kind of more subtle and more fun. And I have a lot of male participants come in and say like, oh, I didn't realize when I think about it, when the question was asked and he think about what it is, he realized actually has some feminine in him as well.
Mm. Speaking about, oh, I think you've just frozen a little bit, but no, okay. Speaking about gender, I noticed a stat for one of your fundraising pieces with the Clay with Australia, that around 95 participants of that project were female. And I wondered if that was a surprise to you, and if you have any kind of commentary or anything to say around that.
Well, I wasn't surprised. Look at how many people participating in this. It's always more like 95% females and 5% male. I don't know what happened. I don't know what it is, but it's always like this.
Yeah. And were the participants, were they the people that were donating artworks to that fundraiser, or were they the purchasers of the?
More like people who donate work. I contact with the people who purchase the work, but people who don't network, I can track them. So that's what happens. Yeah.
Yeah. So that might kind of lead us into talking about your activism within your practice and your fundraising. And to me, I think there's a relationship between working collaboratively and then that growing into activism and fundraising and working within a community. Is that how it has worked with you? Is that how it came to be?
It kind of, I wasn't planning to do anything like, I just feel like I need to do something. Like the first time when I saw, I think the biggest one was the flood in Thailand, in southern Thailand. And I feel like I want to help, but I don't know how to help. But I know I make work, and I know people like to buy my work. So I thought like that might be the case. So I don't have enough cash to donate, but someone else might have the cash to donate. But then how could I get them to donate the cash? So I thought maybe selling my artwork as an auction that could work. But then it's not just me that think the same thing. There's other artists also have the similar idea, but no one actually want to do anything. So I thought I'm pretty good at organizing. I just use my skill as an organizer and then get it together. And once you did it once, it's easier to do like the second and third one, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and you find a way that to work lesser and lesser, even though it's getting bigger and bigger.
And what was the first thing that you raised money for?
It was for southern Thailand. We have a big flood in southern Thailand, and I get together with a lot of artists in Thailand, in Bangkok, and they donate artwork, and then people in Bangkok, people in Thailand just bought it off and donate the money to this southern Thailand flood rescue team. Yeah. And then come to flood in Brisbane, and then clay for Nepal. And then from clay for Nepal, I start to use the word clay for, because all ceramics. So clay for Nepal, clay for Australia, and clay for clay community. Clay for Australia was for the bushfire this year. And we have, that's like one of the biggest one. And then I have clay for clay community, because when COVID hit, people just couldn't sell their work anymore. No one buying anything. So I thought like, if we just do this kind of like one person buy one work, and then when they get enough profit, they just buy another piece. So generate the income among the Potter Society or among the ceramic community. So that helped as well. So some of the people who take part like sell enough to buy three more pieces from other artists.
That's incredible. And how many artists do you have that's part of that?
This one, that's what I said to you. You learn how to work less but get more. So this one I was just like, well, you can take part. Anyone can take part. Just use the hashtag clay for community. So this, I can't track how many people taking part, but then at the same time, I don't have to work so much.
It's very, very smart, Vipoo.
Otherwise, you can't do it. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of time. It's a good idea the first day when you start, and then like you realize that, 2 days later, oh shit, like you just have to contact so many people. You have to follow up so many artists. When I first did before Clay for Australia, I just like at center, everybody send me money, everybody send me my artwork, and send out the artwork. So it was so much work. And later on, I just find out it's better to not do the money. People just donate to the organization they like, under the theme of like BL, Black Lives Matter, or like under like bushfire, send me the receipt, and then done. So this is a lot easier for me. And then I do ask the artist to donate the work, but contact with the buyer directly, so I don't have to send the work. But I still have to go follow, like, you know, if the work has been sent, if the buyer already get the work safely.
I do remember watching Clay for Australia online on Instagram, and I remember seeing how much money you were earning and how much money was being donated and how many people were involved. And I remember thinking, Vipoo, how are you doing all of that? That's massive, you know. But I also know you had a community that was helping you, and I guess that's what I'm really interested in as well. That nothing happens really in isolation. And how did you bring those people together and choose who would be helping you?
Well, if you start, they come.
Yeah.
That's really, I couldn't do it by myself, to be honest. Maybe with the first one that I did by myself, but the second and third, and later on, it's when you start, people just come in and offer help. It's someone just sometimes unexpected it, like, you know, someone donating the work, and I talk to them, and they say like, anything else that can help? And I say like, okay, maybe you could help me count how much money people donate, and she's really happy to help, and these kind of things. For Play for Australia, I have almost 10 people helping me.
Wow.
It was a lot, yeah.
And you raised nearly $50,000.
Yeah. Probably more, but I just couldn't count. You know, people just do it slowly, and then they don't send the receipt in time. It's just like, I can't wait. I just want to move on.
Yeah. And you've recently co-founded Ceramics for Charity. Can you tell me about how that came to be? Because that sounds a bit more specific, and that you've got a core group of people that are doing that with you.
Well, you want a short one, or you want a long one?
Whichever is the most entertaining.
The long one is quite entertaining, perhaps, but hopefully you understand how what I try to say. But it started off, I want to increase the follower of my Instagram. It doesn't seem relating, but that's how it started. So I enrolled in the course called Instagram for Artists. I think 7-day Instagram for Artists things from ceramics school. And part of the course is the director of the ceramics school will review my Instagram personally and give me a comment of how can I make it improvement, or how could I do to make more interesting, my account interesting. But because of that, the director, which is George, know what I did before and learn about my charity aspect, and he liked the work. So after reviewing my Instagram, he contacted me and asked if I want to do something with him, like organize a ceramic for charity with him. And that's how it started. And then I thought, like, just the two of us, maybe we should including a curator to help create a really good and professional exhibitions as part of the project. So that's how Wendy's coming in, and the three of us work together and help create this ceramic for charity. But it wasn't like, oh, one day I got up and, okay, I want to create these ceramic for charities and foundations and things like that. No, it just start from unexpected things.
It's very unexpected to enroll in a class and then suddenly be co-founding together. That's incredible.
It was, but it was. I think that's how things happen.
And it sounds like collaboration is really a big part of your practice. So whether you're actively seeking it, you're obviously kind of putting that out there for people that they're responding.
Yeah, if I haven't done any other project before, George would notice, you know, what I have done before. He wouldn't approach me, but because I did so many projects and I put on Instagram, and he can see it, and then he get the idea and he can talk to me. And because of that, I know how it works, so I can accept his invitation and we can work together.
I'm interested to know what you've been doing during lockdown, because obviously you're in Melbourne and you're experiencing such an intense time at the moment. And being a creative person, Vipoo, it sounds like you haven't really stopped, and that you've started the Wellness Deity project.
It was the busiest time ever. It's crazy.
You
I
just
was
can't
like,
stop yourself.
yeah, I was like, okay, when the first time lockdown happened, it's like, I'm gonna take time off, but then I just couldn't do it because, like your brain just going and then suddenly stop. It just didn't work. So I thought like maybe I needed 2 weeks just to cool down. So I started making these little people, like little things, little figurines. And somehow I just thought make 19 of them because COVID-19 just keep me company. And it becomes so popular. It sells really well and people just want more and more. I just couldn't make enough of them. And then, and then I like got the idea, oh, maybe this grant coming, I should apply for a grant doing something about COVID. So I create like a Wellness Deity. It's asking people to send me the idea of what is their COVID deity that have a special power to fight off the COVID-19. And then I got like 60 people applying, but I only want 19. And so it's kind of work. And then from that, I have to choose 19 writers to write about the deity. And after that, I have to create 19 deity in ceramics.
Wow.
So that's a lot of work. But then my gallery said, oh, this time is really good for gallery. People buying a lot. Would you like to do online show as well? So like, oh yes, it'll be good. So it was crazy, these 4 months. I don't know, but for artists, I think it's the best time because I also have time to actually paint. I want to do a painting for a long time, but I haven't had a chance. So I take this opportunity to do painting and it was really fun. And then Ballarat City Council, before the COVID-19, they offered me to run 2 days workshop as part of the creative weeks. But because of the COVID-19, they can't run it, but they're like, I want to honor you, keep the artist fee for you, but can you come up with some project? So I do a COVID superhero. So that's another project on top of another project. So we were like, gone crazy. But because of that, I didn't feel alone because I have to connect with so many people that I collaborate with. I have to email them, I have to follow up the writer, and have to follow up with all the people who participate and keep it. Can you send me invoice so I can pay you? Or can you send me a bit more detail or send me the pictures? So this way I don't feel like I'm actually isolated.
Definitely. And we were kind of talking before about how, we are more globally accessible and we're doing programs like this so that you're in the homes of South Australians and Australian artists, whereas you might not have had that opportunity. Otherwise, we kind of, we've found some definite pros to this position.
Yeah, I think before COVID, the word Zoom, it just make no sense. No one know about Zoom and no one want to get into it. But now like Zoom is become like a verb. Have you Zoomed yet? Do you want to Zoom with me? Like what? Become like a common thing.
It has, you're right. Look, I can see a question has come through, so we might jump over to questions. Thank you, Vipoo.
Sure.
If anyone else has any questions, please do pop them in the chat, or if you'd like to ask Vipoo your question directly, just pop that in the chat that you'd like to ask the question.
Hi Sam, hi Judith.
So one of the questions we have from Guildhouse is, what advice, Vipoo, would you give to other artists that want to kickstart a collective as you have?
What advice? It just starts.
Just do it.
Just do it. Don't ask questions too much and don't try to find out too much of information or advice, because once you know what it is, what you're facing, you may not do it.
Well, that's true, isn't it? Once you know the full picture, it seems much larger than you might be able to.
You just start it. Like every time, maybe it's just a simple little thing, but then it grows. But if you try to think too much, then you just don't start anything.
Yeah. And it sounds like you have started things, and once they have become bigger, you've had the capacity to actually invite people in or to accept help. I guess that's a huge thing, isn't it? When you're doing a group project, to be able to say, actually, I do need some assistance with this.
Yeah, you have to admit, you have to know your limit, and you have to be able to let go of lots of aspects of your idea. And sometimes you have idea of this going to be this, but then you can't do it. You need someone help, and then they come up with a different idea. And if you think it's a good idea, you just let it go of what you had in mind. Otherwise, you become like a control freak, and you just couldn't get anything moving.
That's right. I think if this year has taught us anything, flexibility is is it. It's been the key word, hasn't it?
It is.
Does anyone else have any questions? Oh, thank you for that question, Emma. Does anyone else have any other ones that they'd like to ask, whether it's about activism or your practice? Oh, Sam Gold saying thank you for being, she was part of one of the Playful community online.
She did donate a lot, and she brought the ticket to come to Melbourne too. But then COVID happened, so she couldn't come for a long time.
Oh, that's incredible. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that, Sam? Do you want to turn on your mic? And you don't have to, I just saw your eyes widen as I suggested that.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah. I was like, okay, but then I get shy. It was really great to be a part of it. The raffle, particularly, Vipoo, you were really kind and helping me navigate times and how to bid, and that was really nice. And I won a weekend at David Ray's apartment and some time with Vipoo, and it was just really nice to, as somebody at that present moment, I don't think I had any work to donate, or like to do anything, and I just, yeah, it was nice to be able to give in that way financially, and it was just, it was exciting in a really dark period of time as well. So it was not only the fact of what was happening in the environment and to us socially, but that you created some fun and you brought our community together, and I've made, a friend with you, Vipoo, and
Well,
really,
not yet. We haven't met in person yet.
not in person, online. And then yeah, so it was nice to feel closer to community in that way.
Thank you. Yes, yeah. Yes. So I look forward to welcome you in Melbourne when
Me too.
when you can travel again.
Yes.
And to everyone else, when they can travel again, you should go to David Ray's, be in Airbnb. David Ray is
really
an
cool.
incredible Melbourne-based ceramicist who has started an Airbnb room that he has made everything in it himself, including the furniture, and it is outstanding.
Just go and pinch some of the work.
Exactly. So I'm sure once, when the borders open, go for it.
Yes, tell him Vipoo's there to come and pinch some work.
He'll love that. It does sound like fun and kind of playfulness is really at the heart of your practice, Vipoo.
Yeah, I don't know why, but yeah, it seemed like that, yes. And it worked really well for me. It's that's how I connect to people. But in reality, I'm a very sad person. I'm like depressed, and I'm, never happy and all like that. I just putting like happy face only.
Well, you're certainly connecting with people in a very meaningful way through your playfulness and I guess breaking down the barriers without, by having that, creating that atmosphere, which is really beautiful to see.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions that they would like to ask of Vipoo about his practice or activism in any way?
Fire away.
So
secret recipe, secret glaze. Are you guys all ceramic artists? I know Sam is. Judith is.
Artist.
Who?
Raise your hand if you are.
1, 2, Judith. I know Judith. Sue, Ashi. Tom Bunch. I haven't seen you before, so good to see you in this picture.
If there
Hi,
are.
Henry. So, thank you. Happy Hedge, Alice. Ryoko. John. Hello, you're a bit late, but welcome.
So one of the reasons, Vipoo, that we started this program was because we had feedback from our members and from our community that they wanted the opportunity to talk to people in real life, whether that's actually over Zoom or whether it's in person. So this program, although we have, thematics and there are particular topics that we're talking about, it's also a wonderful opportunity for us to all show our faces and have a little chat if that's how we want to interact. So thank you for making this possible and creating a fun space as well for us to all ask you questions.
The social media feed content subject of your work.
Feed the concepts behind your work, Vipoo, what you see on social media and how people react to you. I think that's what Belle's asking. I just talked over your question, Belle.
Is that what you're asking? You can unmute and ask if you like.
Do you want to talk?
Oh, hi. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's more or less all I was asking. Just, you know, you've mentioned that you like social media a lot, and obviously, you know, it's a social, you know, it is a sort of social experience to some extent. So I was wondering if it feeds into the content or the sort of subject behind some of your work.
Yeah, sometimes it does. Sometimes I found like really good work. I just do it and then, you know, copy and then turn it to my work. No, I shouldn't say that.
All good artists steal. Isn't that the
No, but
phrase?
it does help a lot. You know, like when you follow the artist you really like, you just like, oh my God, look at his, you know, the idea he has, and then it inspired me to do something good as well. And sometimes you just see things that you're not expecting, like, you know, cat video like this. It's kind of relaxing, but then sometimes something click and you just get new idea from that cat. You know, it's happened. Like my cat plate. I just make this cat plate because I saw this cat video and I thought it's really cute. I want to do something with this cute cat. What to do and make cat plate, and then it sell.
Everybody loves cats.
Yes, having said that, it's also a negative thing too. Like when I work, like I check my Instagram like every 10 minutes just to see how many people comment on my posts. It's not healthy in a way, and also like because it's distracting my concentration every 10 minutes. Like I can't work 2 hours straight, and it affects my work a lot. So I have to find a way to deal with it. And it also, a lot of people, including myself, have issue with Instagram or Facebook a lot, like, you know, you're comparing yourself with other artists. I just can't help it. I know it's not good. I know you're not supposed to do it, but I just can't help myself when they see like, oh my God, this artist is doing really good work. I'm so happy for them. But then, oh man, I'm making shitty work. What to do? And because of that, I try to make a better work.
It's quite a juggle, social media, isn't it? I feel like sometimes it really drives you to do more and to do better, and other times it completely you know, kind of sinks you into the hole where you're comparing yourself to other people. So it's about finding that balance, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not about balance though. You have to get over it, otherwise you just go to corner and never come out again. It's just one thing that I learned is when you look at them, it's not just from one person. It's just from so many different artists that I follow, and because I've seen so many good work, and I just realized, oh my God, my work is so crap. Oh, this work, somebody else have done it already. And oh, this work, somebody else have similar idea, but did much better than I do. But then when you look at someone, just one person feed, you realize actually it's not better than me or worse than me, but that's his style. But because I don't see his work alone, but I saw like hundreds of artists. So I feel like my work is kind of shit, because you only see the best of every like 100 people. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I try to say. But if you look at individually, it wasn't too bad.
There's also a certain side of oneself that you put out to social media as well. So
it's very well curated.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Thank you, Vipoo.
But it's a good way to collaborate using social media. That's how I do my work, and that's how I get all my charity things happen, because of social media. So it wasn't all bad. You just have to know how to use it.
Yeah. There's some hints for you, Judith, to up your Instagram activity, and hopefully that will create more of a community around you.
It is so hard to do.
Yeah.
I find Instagram, you know, you look at your work and you go, oh, that's crap. Exactly what you're saying. And you go,
that's a hole you have to come out of. Otherwise,
you don't want to post the next one.
We all have to start somewhere, I think.
It's very hard, and I don't post much. But it's nice to. What I wanted to ask you was how did you start doing some bronze work?
How did I start to do some bronze work? I did bronze work a while back, but then the second time I did it because I think I can't remember how I did one. I think I just make it. I just want to do some bronze work. That's it. And then I make one, and then it go really well. And my gallery suggests to do bigger one. So I make a bigger pieces and then make it even bigger because it's very well received.
Who did you go? What foundry did you go with?
Melwood in Melbourne, one of the best.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, it's not the cheapest, but he was the best in terms of understand of what artists wanted. And he was really cool to work with. And having said that, I also worked with him for another project, The Merit of Sang Tong. I make a smaller size bronze, but it's like kind of wall piece. But I only sell one. So it didn't go really well at all. So it just, you just don't know what work and what not work. My gallery said, because my work doing well because it's 3D and that's what people remember. But when I hang my work on wall, it's become like a painting. And because of that, it can be compared with other paintings. So people might just think, okay, this one $2,500. What other painting I can buy?
Yeah.
So all these little things that you just never learn in the university.
So I have seen your work. So I do watch Instagram.
Hey, here you go.
Do you have any more questions for Vipoo? We might head into some breakout rooms. Oh, one more. Sue, I'll just unmute you.
Yeah, she just said goodbye, I think. She's going to go to Penn.
No.
Oh.
Is Instagram your main social media platform?
3 years ago, I have 3 of them. I have Facebook, which is my personal account, and Facebook fan page, and then an Instagram. And I only basically use Instagram only. I found Facebook fan page. If you don't pay money, no one's seeing your post. So I just kind of like not post it very much. The Facebook personal page, I still keep going because that's how I keep in touch with my family in Thailand and my friends in Thailand. And Instagram is the only professional outlet for me. I just post picture of my work basically. Yes.
And you do it regularly, you were saying, every day?
Yeah, once a day at 9 o'clock is the most busiest time of my followers. So I use that time to post. I also turn my Instagram into like influencers. I think, is that the word? I can't remember. They have like normal Instagram business and kind of like influencers. And this way I can track like how many people watching my Instagram, how many followers like my data and which kind of data that they like. So I cater my Instagram to fit with that, you know, analyzing. Having said that, I'm doing that for, I think like 2 months, and I can see, this is part of my course, the Instagram course for artists. So I can see like, it suddenly got so much more followers and faster. But after 2 months, I feel depressed because I feel like Instagram actually owned me. I have to create a content that fit with what people expect to see and what people wanted to see instead of what I wanted to put on my Instagram. So once I realized that problem, I just stopped looking at all these analytic, and then I just post what I want to post, and I just don't really care. Well, I still do care, but I just not go too much like, you know, what kind of content people like to see. So I don't feel like I have to produce this kind of particular content to please the audience. Does that make sense, Sue?
Yeah. So once you've conceived of your idea for your project, how do you go about, you promote it on Instagram as well?
Yeah, I do. I basically, my project is a post on Instagram or Facebook, and from there it works. And sometimes I pay for Instagram advertising, which I don't know if it works or not because I get charged like $50, but I see nothing happens. Having said that, so when I work with George in ceramic school, he spent like $30,000 on Facebook advertising, and he has like 100,000 people enroll for his course.
Wow.
For me, it was like this aspect of advertising, I just never know. I just never know anyone who spent more than $100 on Facebook advertising. But for him, it worked.
Yeah, it's yeah, I'm not that familiar with Instagram, so it's sort of enlightening to me that this is such an important part of yeah, your job.
Yeah, I think for me, but some people like my friend Kirsten Keller, she's a ceramic artist, a really, really beautiful work she made. She also had an Instagram, but she never posts because she just didn't want to get all the things into her head, like, oh, people like my work or people don't like my work. Why this work get more like than the other work? She just used it as a tool to keep up with her friends. But she just, she go to someone else and like and post and chat, but she never posts on her Instagram.
Do you mind if I ask another question? I don't want to sort of dominate.
No, it costs you $10. Sure, you can ask. Sorry.
I was just wondering which one of the projects has sort of been the most popular. I really love the way that you're turning often difficult or awkward issues into something really positive. And I was just wondering which one was the most engaging. Have you sort of refined that as you've gone along?
Yeah, the one that is most popular and the one that most engaging is the one I'm working on. Because I think once you finish, it's just not popular anymore. It's just not engaging anymore. I'm done. I'll just move on to the new one. But the new one is not coming yet, so I just concentrate on what I'm working on right now, and that's the one that's most popular. I'm not sure if that answers your question, but I think that's how I feel. Yeah.
I was sort of wondering in terms of popularity, like response from the public, or
well, they are popular in different kind of way. The one that I open for participants, it's always more popular. Like when I did the coral reef things, collective corals, I asked people to send me blue and white rubbish. And I was just thinking maybe I get maybe 10 or 20 people send it to me from around, from Australia. But then I get I think 50, 60 people from around the world, from Germany, from Asia, from Europe, all around the world send me rubbish for me to use and make sculpture out of it. That before Instagram time, just only Facebook. But for charity thing, it's also popular. People like to share and people like to help. I think everybody wants to help, but they just don't know how. They don't know how to help. They don't find a way that easily give help to other people. So I'm act as a middle person to bridge these two sides together, and that's kind of that's why it's popular, I guess.
That's great. Thank you very much. It's really inspiring.
You're most welcome, Sue. Thank you, Sue. I won't charge you $10 then.
I think we'll take one last question, which we have from Emma in the chat.
Okay.
And she asks, with so many big issues happening in the world right now, how do you determine what issues or needs to put your energy into? Are you driven by your own passions or what you hear from the community?
Oh, easy. The one that close to me first, the one that is, I don't choose which is the most priority problem to tackle. I don't choose is the heaviest problem I have to solve. I choose the one that I feel close with. I feel passionate about it. Otherwise, it won't last. Otherwise, I can't work on it. It has to be something that I really, really enjoy. I really, really like, because it's a lot of work. And if you don't choose the subject that you like, you just give up really easily. You just when problem occur, you just why I'm doing this? What's the point? And you just fizzle out. But if you love this, for example, when I work for Playful Australia, I'm really passionate about it. I really want to help those animals, and it's so many problems come, but you just find a way to work around it. You just not give up, basically. But if I choose to support something I don't know, what the issue now, I don't know, some protests or some things, and I may not just do it. I would just give up because it's too difficult.
You've got to be invested in it, don't you?
Yeah, you have to like it. You have to love it, even though some little things, but it's good.
Thank you. I think we might leave the session there for today. And I'd love to thank everyone for being here. It was such it's this, you know, an incredible session. It was our first session for revision, so really great to see how people want to interact, because I know everyone hasn't always, you know, doesn't always have a lot of experience with Zoom when they come into these sessions, so you never really know how it's going to go. So thank you everyone for being so wonderful, and thank you Vipoo for such meaningful and inspirational conversation.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It was great.
Thank you. I will just let everyone know that this is the first session, so we have many more sessions for revision this week coming up. Today I'm talking to Christy Dina, who will be discussing the rituals of online art processes at 4 p.m. At 7 p.m. tonight, I'll be talking to Ioane Scarce and Claire Belfrage on the role of the artist. Bookings are open until 1 hour before the session, so please feel free to sign up if you haven't. Tomorrow I'm speaking with Lisa Wayup and Ingrid Werner on meaningful collaboration, on their fashion collaboration together. And at 1, I'm chatting to Kent Wilson, who is a co-founder of the Kind and Contemporary Triennale. So he's really talking about bringing communities together and collaborating. So that will be really interesting as well. We also have a really ridiculously fun platform that we're launching tomorrow night in a platform called Gather Town, where we will all have little avatars and we're able to walk up to one another and mingle and chat as though we're at an opening. So we'll have 4 prestigious curators from around the nation, from Carriageworks, Powerhouse, NGV and Stations Gallery. So please feel free to sign up, and you can have the opportunity to talk to a curator, which is really an exciting thing at this time where we can't travel in particular. And then on Thursday, Heidi Cannon will host a session with Amy Hourigan called Practical Tips and Tricks for Increasing Your Online Viability. And that evening we will conclude the session, or the program for the spring sessions, with our Guildhouse CEO Emma Fay, who will be talking with Daniel Slater from the Victorian Albert Museum in London, with Lisa Slade from AGSA at 7 o'clock on Thursday nights. So if you are interested, please do sign up to any of those sessions. And our tech mentorship program, which I haven't really talked about too much in this session, is accepting expressions of interest until September 30. And that's an awesome opportunity for artists to grow their digital skills through tailored sessions. So please hop onto our website. That is just for South Australian artists, unfortunately. The rest of the program is a free-for-all, but please do look at our website for more information. Thank you again, Vipoo. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Debbie.
Lovely to see you all. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.